to the thanks, Ryan. Welcome to the LFDT Besu contributors call for November of 2025. My name is Justin Florentine. As a housekeeping note, reminder that we are under an antitrust notice via the Linux Foundation. This is available in our wiki. This meeting is being recorded, transcribed, and machine summarized. You can mute unless you're speaking, and if you have a question, use the raise hand feature. And so with that, we will kick things off with the first item on our agenda. I did post a link recently to the agenda on Discord. Here, I'll put it in the Zoom chat too. But Fusaka, everything's on track. Fusaka is going to activate, ambient noise from room echo. Yeah, sorry about that. Not much I can do at the moment, unless I can start hanging tapestries during the meeting. So let me know if it's inaudible. Otherwise, I'm going to continue. Fusaka deploys on mainnet in about 8 days, so a little bit more than a week. Everything is correct. Sorry, all the tests are passing, everything's in good shape. We are full speed ahead. Okay. Next item, the sunset plan. We've been talking about this for quite some time. We're starting to make a little bit better progress. There was a number of PRs opened in the last 2 weeks around removal of proof of work and eventual removal of Ethereum Classic support. So the ETC network support deprecation notice will be in the next release, and we will remove support for Ethereum Classic from the client by the end of Q1 2026. And next up on the sunset plan is going to be removal of the click protocol. We only have one known customer that is depending on click at the moment, and they are already in the progress of migrating off of it. I shouldn't say customer, sorry, because there are lots of people that are using Besu that I have no idea who they are or how they're using it. So this has been communicated, it's been posted for quite some time. I have not heard any pushback, so we will continue full speed ahead. And the next thing to be removed will be click. Any questions or comments on that?
Hey, so I don't know if we can set the same plan as proof of work for click. So add the deprecation node in the next release and remove in Q1 26. Do you think this could be possible as timeline for removal?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not.
Okay. So maybe I will work also to add this to the release notes for the next release. And I don't see if is reported below, but we want also to remove the transaction support from moving from proof of work, proof of authority to the proof of stake consensus mechanism, because that code is actually was just made for the merge, is not probably supported well. No one is, unless I miss something, really testing and using that part. So it could be that there are issues and that is not really working anymore to transition from a pre-merge to a proof of stake network. So unless someone has any idea of using this code and want to support it, I think we should plan for its removal as well.
Yep, that is actually in the process. Right there's a link for it. The issue likely needs to be maybe expanded on a little bit, but that's definitely in the plan. Matthew, go ahead.
Hey, Justin, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're definitely in favor of getting rid of proof of work. I kind of wanted just to raise a sort of a apology. We didn't manage to move it on further than we got to when Barney was working on it. I know I think Sally's taken ownership of the PR for now. So yeah, we're definitely in favor of it. We've had a bit of churn that meant we haven't made much progress on it recently, which is unfortunate, but we definitely support it going.
No problem. Thank you. All right, so then, yeah, I will add that to the transition work specifically that Fabio is mentioning. I'll add that to our next agenda. And as proof of work is removed from the code base, we can focus on the classic click and transition code. So this is great. This is a lot of technical debt that's being cleaned up. Love to see it. All right. Next up, Bonsai archive performance and suitability for mainnet archive nodes. I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, and I'm not quite sure where this is. So Bonsai archive seems to be like a usable feature that we're working with. What we're unclear on it is when we can remove forest and have Bonsai be the default database configuration for archive nodes, specifically mainnet archive nodes, which are a lot bigger than many of the other applications that could be using Bonsai. So, thoughts? Anybody's got any ideas on that? How can we set up a goal where we can actually deprecate forest and still support mainnet archive nodes?
Hey, I'll jump in. I put my hand up, Justin, but I'll
Oh,
jump in.
sorry.
No worries. Yeah, so I think for me that functionally, I think the main blocker for removing forest is to have archive with state proofs, because I think without that, forest removal would effectively leave users without a an archive that offers proofs. So that's purely from a functional perspective about removal of forest. Um, I don't actually have mainnet performance numbers for the non-state proof archive mode. I haven't paid close attention to the sheer performance, with the exception of disk space, depending on whether you factor that into performance. I have some idea of disk space on state proofs with archive with state proofs, which is only finger in the air, but it's around the 300 gigabytes for the first 10 million blocks of Ethereum, and that's as far as my state proof archive got recently. Um, I know that won't mean, well, it's twice that for for 20 million blocks, but just as a rough indicator. So that's my 2 cents, I guess.
Okay, that's good to know. That's not terrible for an archive node. Gary,
I'd like to, yeah, chime in as well that yeah, Matthew's on the right track for, making sure before we can deprecate forest, even if we have a tighter format on disk for historical data that can provide, proofs. Uh, when you have, we have a lot of use cases for forest mode as the backer for a block explorer. So we need to make sure that we can support the load that forest can support, whether it's, forest is uh, got its own performance issues because the state is so large, but we need to like take the Pepsi challenge, so to speak, with the Bonsai archive with state proofs and with forest before we could deprecate it, because that's a pretty significant use case that we might handicap by getting rid of forest.
Do you know anybody in the Block Explorer world that I should be talking to on that?
Linnea?
Okay. Okay. Any other comments on the subject of removing forest? Okay. Great. Next up, this is your periodic reminder to tend our wiki. Outdated pages may be archived. Yeah, so go through stuff, mark stuff as able to be deleted, archived if it's old, et cetera, et cetera. If it's something that you want to retain, maybe touch it in some way so it's got a last updated date that seems more fresh. Rai, are you available to talk about the export process that we have been considering?
Sure.
Thank you.
Basically, there is a tool which generates Markdown from the pages as they sit at rest. And then I have exported that Markdown and made it available in the Besu ETH org. You should all have the ability to look at that. So as pages are updated, I would just export those single pages as Markdown when the cutover decides to happen, right? So
Okay. So what do you need from us from a decision-making perspective on that? Like we should take a look at the output, give you some feedback on that. Is it sufficient? Maybe some
well,
timelines for...
the one thing that we could do is these meeting notes for this already have a space. So start keeping the agendas for these meetings there. This is by far the most active part. And then if you could look at pages and say, it is important that this set of pages comes out. We're not going to delete anything. The wiki as it stands today will remain in a read-only state. So you don't have to worry about the information in the edit history going away. Just if there's something in particular that you want to add, tell me, tell Jessica, and we'll make sure that it exists over in the Besu ETH wiki on GitHub.
Okay.
And if you run into anything, let me know.
Okay, so the default is tagging things to migrate as opposed to just assuming everything gets migrated, is what I'm hearing.
Well, I have already exported everything. I don't remember the date, but I exported the entire Besu space as Markdown and put it over there. So if you want to export the entire thing and keep it as a living document, that's going to be a lot more work because there's a lot of history. So
Right.
it's kind of your, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't think that we need that.
So I think, referencing older material from the GitHub wiki, should just be a link, right? So the timeline would be to make this read only, hopefully by the end of the year. My guess would be by the end of Q1, it's going to become a must.
Okay, that seems doable considering that's a good insight that most of our traffic is actually these meeting agendas. So I think
Yeah,
that's
and by far, the Besu group is the most active on Confluence in terms of edits. There are a couple other groups that are active, but you are most active.
okay, great.
Yep.
Anything else with regard to wiki stuff? All right. All right. Moving right along. Glamsterdam planning. Reminder that the headliners have already been selected. It's EPBS on the consensus layer and block level access lists on the execution layer. The consideration of other EIPs is still open. There is a link on our agenda to a HackMD that we put together conveying our stack ranking of all the other EIPs. Now, this is a general priority list where we say, hey, we think these things are more important than those things. We're not estimating them. We're not saying what we think will fit into Glamsterdam, but we are saying that these things are more important than those things. So just FYI, that document is linked in the agenda. Here, I can post a link to it here in the Zoom chat. As always, we are available for feedback on these if you'd like to, express your opinions on that. Discord is the best way to do that. All right. Any questions on Glamsterdam? Okay. The charter, still not approved. So I'm going to start probably bossing people around and limiting the amount of time that we wait for feedback on this. This has been dragging on for quite some time, and I think we're really, really close to just having it done. So if you have not expressed an opinion on there, the window is closing, if not closed for that. If you have expressed an opinion on there, I'll be following up with you directly to get us to approval. I don't think anybody on the call, I think everybody on the call has either approved it if that's required. So you guys are all, go ahead, Rob.
I will note that I updated the if you refresh your agenda page, you'll see that I added a link to David's update that it's with LF Legal. So yes, it needs more approvals, but it's also currently with LF Legal looking at the previous round of changes. So it sounds like there's progress being made on both sides, and I would be happy to get this in the can.
Cool, us too. We get it done before the end of the year. All right. And then lastly, LFDT Maintainers Days. This is an event in New York City. It's being scheduled for January 26th and 27th. Anybody has an idea for something they would like to present for Besu, feel free to reach out to LFDT. I can connect you to the right people. It's a good opportunity. If anybody has any suggestions that they would like to see at Maintainer Days, please start that discussion in Discord, and we'll see what we can facilitate. And with that, the floor is open. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about?
I guess my question to all of you is about the mechanics of moving over to the Besu ETH org. What questions can I answer to help make that happen?
I think you've answered the questions that I have had most recently. That it is the same repository, just in a different org.
Yep.
Meaning, so we keep not only obviously the code and everything, but also issues and pull request history and all that fun stuff.
Yep. We have, for instance, moved a bunch of repos for instance, Aries and parts of Indy over to OWF. Open Wallet Foundation. And that's, if you go to the old GitHub URL, you just get redirected to the new place. And if you're doing it on the command line, if you do a git pull from the old remote, it will do it, but it will say, hey, by the way, update your remotes.
Yeah.
So it's generally fairly painless.
Okay. What do you see being different from a managing roles and permissions perspective?
It makes it much easier, mostly because the blast radius of any changes is limited to one project. If you have if someone is able to compromise or do something to the configuration of the Hyperledger org, it doesn't affect other orgs. It doesn't affect other projects, as a for instance. It also really helps in terms of cost and spend allocation. So if you are using large runners, we can put a specific org on a specific budget so that when they run out, they run out. They don't run the whole org out. Right now, that's partially the case, but not completely the case. So,
Okay. I'll go ask around our team members, see if anybody else has any questions on the matter. I personally am more comfortable with it, so I wouldn't mind maybe kicking off the new year with this migration.
that would be awesome.
All right. So I'll start floating that more broadly. Matthew, do you or anybody at Kaleido have any concerns with this? You guys kind of don't care because you guys have a fork, right?
Yeah, I don't think we have a strong opinion. We do have a fork. We cut releases off that fork. So I don't think we have a strong opinion on this either way. I know it moves things in line with the rest of the LFDT projects. So no big concerns from us. I know Paladin, for example, pulls in stuff from Besu, not from the Besu fork, from the open source repo. We'll spot that if there are issues. I think it's just Maven coordinates we pull in. So if redirects work, then that's great. If we need to change something in Paladin, it's not a big deal. It's only for our well, no, that's not true. It's not only for our test infrastructure, but yeah, um, it will be useful for us to keep abreast of when that shift happens. But we'll spot any issues where redirects aren't working or where we need to make a small PR to pick up a different Maven. I don't know if we'll need to pick up a different Maven coordinate or anything.
I don't think so. I think those are just things that we manage with our own package management system, and it's a
Yeah,
different notion of an organization. So
yeah,
there
sounds good.
there may be some changes in the future, but they would be detached from this initiative.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I will point out that Paladin and Zato have just been going through this. They just went through this process, so I think Matthew and his team are well apprised of kind of what had to change and what didn't have to change and stuff like that.
Nice. Does anybody have anything else they would like to discuss in open floor time? Jessica, proceed.
Hi, I know some of you, and for those who don't know me, I joined the LFDT back in February, and I'm working mostly with the Hiro community. For going back to the maintainer days, we have 3 maintainers that are attending from the Hiro community, and I wanted to connect you with them, whoever is going from the Besu community. I think we can probably chit chat over there and see if there's any opportunities for cross collaboration. I think it will be great for both communities to just get to know each other and to see if there's any opportunity for I don't know, maybe leveraging something that another community that the community is doing, and see if we can work together.
Cool. Pleased to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you guys.
We'll see you on the Discord then.
Yeah, for
Anybody
sure.
else?
Feel free to ping me, and yeah, I mean, once Maintainer Days gets closer, I will be very happy to meet you in person.
All right. Does anybody else have any issues? Okay. I suspect we'll cancel our call for December since it's very dense holidays in December. And if I don't talk to any of you prior to then, I hope you have good holidays, and I'll see you in the new year.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Yeah, you
Happy
too.
holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye.